Accrington Stanley? Accrington Stanley? Who are they? Exactly.
Well, son, let me tell you all about Accrington Stanley. The Reds were formed in 1868 as Accrington FC. They were one of 12 teams to form the current English Football League. However, after collapsing in 1966, the club was reformed as Accrington Stanley in 1968. The Reds have never looked back, battling through the leagues before finally reaching the EFL in 2006 for the first time in over 100 years. Since then, Accrington have had success on the field, reaching League One in 2018 after winning the League Two title, and have developed some excellent players along the way like Colby Bishop, Dion Charles, Cameron Burgess and Caden Jackson. However, the Reds have never won the FA Cup, League Cup and haven't been in the top flight since the 1800s either. So all that today is going to change as we take charge of Accrington Stanley, battle our way through the English football pyramid and make them champions of Europe. However, there will be a catch in today's video as we can only sign free agents. Let's get into the rebuild. So this is the Accrington Stanley team we've loaded into, boys, and I think it's safe to say that this is the worst side we've ever inherited on paper, and this is going to be easily the biggest uphill task we're ever going to have to take this squad of players to a Champions League final with just free agents. So we are going to stick with the 4-2-3-1 formation, boys, because it gets the best out of our current bunch of players, and we have had a mess around with the personnel in the starting 11, and this is the team we have come up with to take us into season 1. And I have to say, boys, even though we've made changes, this team is still absolutely woeful. Now, usually in these rebuilds we would not be able to bring anyone in season 1 because we always disable the first summer transfer window. However, you can sign free agents outside of the allotted transfer window to our gain, so we are definitely going to have a scour through the free agents list and bring some personnel into this team. Now, lads, with Accrington Stanley sitting in lowly League 2, it's very unlikely we'll be able to bring in Mexican internationals like Israel Reyes, Marcel Ruiz, Luis Chavez and other players like Akram Afif. Therefore, we cannot go in for them players in season 1 as they just would not come to League 2. So we are going to have to dig a little deeper into the first season free agent market and hopefully we can unearth some hidden gems. And to add insult to injury, lads, only J. Rich Bagulu and Sebastian Quirk are actually on 2-year deals. Every single other player at the club's deals expire in the summer, meaning we are in big trouble in season 1. And given one of our financial objectives is to keep salary growth under 15%, with this being a critical objective, we are massively limited on the contracts we can give out, which could really shaft us in the long run. And because of the financial limitations placed on us in season 1, we're only going to be making one signing in this window. And we have identified New Zealander Marko Stamanic, 71 rated 21-year-old, would be instantly our best player at the club, has pretty decent stats for a free agent, and he isn't really going to cost us too much in wages. And after this, boys, that'll be our business done, as we do not want to overinflate our wage budget. And we have managed to bring Marko Stamanic in, but he would only sign a 2-year contract. And the tactical vision we are going to use for this rebuild is the counter-attack tactical vision, as the team is not very strong on paper. I think we benefit a lot more from soaking up pressure and hitting teams on the counter-attack, because I don't think our technical ability is good enough to actually play through teams. So, boys, we have spent a little bit of time tying some players down on long-term deals. There are still quite a few players out of contract at the end of the season who we might come back and offer a fresh contract to, depending on performance. But this means our salary growth is actually only 6%, meaning we can probably sign one more player. And going off our start to the season, we definitely need to add at least one more, because that is a terrible start. And we have identified goalkeeper Ilyas Rafan Olafsson, 66 rated 23-year-old Icelandic player, pretty decent stats for League 2 level, and he isn't actually going to cost us too much to bring him to the football club. And I think having a 66 rated goalkeeper in League 2 has got a lot of room to grow would be an amazing pickup. And Olafsson joins the club on a 4-year deal, and as I mentioned, this guy is actually 6'7". And do you know what, lads, we can still afford to grow our wage salary by 6%, so I think we can bring in one more player. And the player we've identified to bring to Accrington Stanley is Mohamed Wad, a free agent CDM, 23-year-old, 65 rated, has got pretty decent stats, and is only going to cost us between £3.4 and £5,000 to bring to the club, which I think could keep us just under the 15% wage growth cap, and it'd also be a really decent signing. And we have brought in Mohamed Wad on a 4-year contract, and we are actually going to change Wad's position from a CDM to a centre-back, as it clearly suits him to be more defensive, and we've already got Louis Coyle and Stamanic in midfield. So after the signings of Stamanic, Olafsson and Wad, I think that is our transfer window boxed off. I don't want to risk growing the salary too much, meaning this will be the team to take us into season 1. I'm thinking that is going to be a bottom half side. Let's simulate forward to the end of the season and see how this Accrington Stanley team got on. We've arrived at the end of season 1, boys, and do you know what? I'm really impressed with our season. We finished 10th on 61 points. We was only actually 4 points outside of the playoff, scoring a whopping 77 goals in 46 games. We just shipped too many, conceding 68. 8. So hopefully by adding the right personnel in the summer, we can actually push for a playoff place or maybe even an automatic place. Now lads, we had an absolutely unbelievable run in the FA Cup, getting all the way to the 5th round where we were beaten 3-2 by Accrington Stanley. And lads, we actually made it to a Carabao Cup quarter final somewhere where we lost to Manchester City. Our performance in the Cups this year was absolutely insane. And we went one better in the Bristol Street Motors Trophy, getting all the way to the final where we were narrowly beaten 3-1 by Notts County. Our performance in the Cups, wow. If we could have replicated that in the league, we'd be in League One next year. Now, on the run up to the end of the season, we were very, very busy in the transfer window as a lot of players left, and we actually made a signing. Matt Lowe joined Wimbledon for 210 grand. Joe Pritchard joined Sepsi Owesk for 400 grand. Sebastian Quirk joined Sutton United for 220 grand. Toby Savin joined Lingby VK for 520 grand. Now, I do know I've butchered that team name. I can only apologise. And we did actually make a signing, boys. We signed left winger Kevin Saboff. He's 23 years old, 69 rated, got really decent stats, a Hungarian player, and he is actually a really decent player, and he joined us on a 4-year deal. And also Sean McConville joined MK Dons, and he will join them on the expiry of his contract. So this is how the team is looking at the end of season 1, and I have to say, boys, we are starting to look more and more like a League One side. This team is night and day compared to the team we started with. We've got 270 rated players in Olafsson and Stamanic, with Saboff not far behind them. Going into season 2 though, boys, we definitely need to sign a new right back, as Mello is actually 57 rated. I'd also like to bring in a centre-back to replace Rich Bagulu at the back. We just have to hope and pray the free agents list is kind to us. And in terms of stats, boys, our best player this season was actually Tommy Lee, our centre attacking midfielder, getting 33 goals and 12 assists in 61 games. That is absolutely insane. He was closely followed by Karode Adedoyan, who got 16 and 9, and Stamanic with 9 and 4. Then after that, lad, boys, not many goals from the rest of the squad, but Kevin Saboff had a great impact, playing 17 times and scoring 8 goals. So hopefully in season 2, the free agents list is kind to us. We can plug the gaps in our squad and get promoted to League 2. So we've arrived in season 2, boys, and we have a budget of £3 million, meaning we should be able to bring in any free agent we want. So as we know, boys, we're in the market for a right back, striker and centre back, and the first player we've identified to sign in this window is regen fullback Barry McCormack. He's 69 rated, 17-year-old Irish player with a lot of play styles, decent stats, and it will literally cost us next to nothing to get into Accrington Stanley. And we have acquired Barry McCormack on a 5-year deal. And we have also identified the striker we want to bring through the door at Accrington Stanley, and it is German player Nick Woltermade. He's 22 years old, 70 rated, pretty decent stats for League 2 level, and he's actually 6'6". And with a market value at £3.1 million, I think this would be an amazing signing. And we have convinced Nick Woltermade to drop to League 2, and he has joined us on a 5-year deal. And we have found another really tasty looking regen, Alfonso Araujo, 70 rated, 17-year-old Brazilian centre-back with really decent stats, and he again is going to cost us next to nothing to bring him to Accrington Stanley. And we have brought Alfonso Araujo to Accrington Stanley on a 5-year contract. And the final player we've identified to bring to Accrington Stanley this summer is Micah Hamilton, a 20-year-old 65 rated English left winger who can also play on the right. Now, very interestingly, Micah Hamilton has actually played for and scored for Man City in the Champions League, and this would be an absolutely incredible pickup. And we have brought Micah Hamilton from the Champions League all the way down to League 2 at Accrington Stanley. Now, after adding all the new signings to the team, this is how it's looking going into season 2. Now, I do want to make one final signing in the left back position to replace Longello. Then after that, boys, I would be absolutely buzzing with this team. Now, along with selling some youth players to meet our board objectives, there have been 2 first-team players leave the club. Albert Fernandez has joined SV Sandhausen for 400 grand, and Lewis Trickett has joined Salford City for 240 grand. That's our transfer window finished, lads. We're now simulating forward to the end of the season, and hopefully we've been promoted to League 1. So we've arrived at the end of season 2, boys, and we have actually done a centurion season, getting 103 points. But it gets better. We scored 111 league goals to secure promotion to League 1. We only lost 5 of our games out of 46. Could we actually go back to back and get promoted to the Championship at the first time of asking? Our FA Cup run was very poor though, getting knocked out in the second round by Rotherham United. That is not good enough. And we were knocked out in the first round of the Carabao Cup by Harrogate Town on penalties. Once again, boys, not good enough. And in the Bristol Street Motors Trophy, we were knocked out 13-12 on penalties by Charlton Athletic. Just was not meant to be in the cups this year, boys. And honestly, just look at the state of the Accrington Stanley team. We're going into League One with a 77 rated striker, 80 rated centre midfielder, multiple 74 rated defenders. Wow, boys, honestly, this team is actually championship standard, and we're going into League One with a championship standard team. I'd be really surprised if this team doesn't go up straight away at the first time of asking. When we do get into season 3 though, boys, we definitely need to add a new left back and new set of defensive midfielder to the squad, as they are our weakest positions. And unfortunately, lads, once again, this keeps happening so many times. The stats have actually reset. Don't understand why this keeps happening, but we'll just never know who our best player was in our Centurion season. Not like I wanted to know or anything. So let's get into season 3, boys, and hopefully go back to back, because the squad we've got should be winning League One. So as we know, boys, in this transfer window, we're in the market for a left back, and we have identified free agent Valentin Fink. Is 19 years old, 70 rated, high work rates, very decent stats for League One level, and he's going to cost us literally nothing to bring him in. I think this is an absolute no-brainer, boys. Let's bring him to Accrington Stanley. And we have completed the signing of Valentin Fink on a 5-year deal. And in this transfer window, boys, we're also in the market for a central defensive midfielder, and we have identified the brother of TN Coop Miners, Pierre Coop Miners, 25 years old, 75 rated, play defensive midfield and central midfield, and he's got really nice stats for a League One player at 71 rated, and we are going to bring him to Accrington Stanley. So the brother of TN Coop Miners is now an Accrington Stanley player, and we have signed him on a 3-year deal. So we've reached the end of the transfer window, boys, and there's been no notable outgoings to bring you up to date with. The only incomings were Fink and Coop Miners, meaning this will be the Accrington Stanley team to take us into our first season in League One. Look at that team on paper, boys. Not a single player below 71 rated. There's 80 rated players in there, there's 78 rated players in there. This team has absolutely got to get promoted this season. Let's simulate forward now to the end of the season and see if we manage to get promoted to the Championship. So lads, what follows a 100 point 100 goal season in League 2? A 100 point 100 goal season in League 1 is what follows. We won the League 1 title, finishing on 105 points, scoring a whopping 122 goals along the way. That's over 2.2 goals per game on average. That is absolutely crazy. And we are playing in the Championship next season. And when you see the team, boys, you'll understand why we've done so well. It is literally a Premier League side. We also had a really good run in the FA Cup, getting to the 5th round where we were knocked out by West Ham United 2-1. And we got to the 4th round of the Carabao Cup where we were smashed 4-1 by Newcastle. We're just not quite at that level just yet. And we did manage to win the Bristol Street Motors Trophy as well, boys, beating Salford City 1-0, bringing in our first domestic cup of the rebuild. And yes, boys, I am counting the BSM Trophy as a domestic cup. Oh, they cost more money last year. And lads, just look at the team we had in League 1. 85 rated Stamanic, 83 rated Walter Mader. No player in the starting 11 below 72 rated. We've got 79 rated players, 77 rated players, 2 75 rated wingers. And genuinely, boys, genuinely, I believe this team in the Championship might even do the three-peat. Could we get promoted for the 3rd time in a row from the Championship to the Premier League? You never ever know. And you know what, boys, with the right additions, I think improving our centre-back and left-back positions, and maybe even a cam if there's one out there, I really believe we could do it. And boys, what do you think happens when you put an 83 rated striker in the 3rd tier of English football? They go on to score 42 goals. That's what happens. He got 33 goals and 13 assists in League 1, and Walter Mader absolutely smashed it this year. But Tommy Lee, I want to talk about, 25 goals, 24 assists. That's an insane return. And Kevin Suboff as well, 25 and 10, another brilliant return. And our star boy Micah Hamilton got 24 and 7. They're not really the most goals than the rest of the team, but our front four did the absolute business this year. So we had a Centurion season in League 2, a Centurion season in League 1. We could be, lads. A Centurion season in the Championship, maybe I'm asking for too much. Let's get stuck into the Championship and find out what happens. So we've arrived in season 4, boys, and we've got a £10 million transfer budget, which I'm going to use to bring in some better scouts, help us bring in better quality free agents, and this should also mean we can bring in any free agent we want to. And how good does it feel to see half of our squad out on international duty playing in international competitions? That just goes to show how good of a squad we've built here at Accrington Stanley. And lads, I know when you look at me, my ears are a mess. I'm looking different. I'm feeling so ill at the moment, but I need to get this video out for you boys on Friday. So if you are enjoying the video, please consider liking it and subscribing to the channel, as it really helps me out, and it will make battling through being ill to get this video out all the more worth it. So we kick off the season 4 transfer window, boys, by bringing in 2 very experienced, high quality free agents who should give us a boost to get to the Premier League. The first being left back Marcos Lopez, who joins us on a 4-year deal, 26-year-old, 75 rated with really decent stats, and he's instantly our best left back. And we have added a real high quality experienced centre back in Modibor Sagnan, 76 rated, 27-year-old, really good stats for the Championship, and I'm hoping these two can come in, give us a boost and get us to the Premier League. We've also brought in a very young, exciting left winger in Estanis, 22-year-old, 73 rated, decent stats, actually worth 6 million already. And we are going to look to nurture him into being Sir Bob's replacement. Now, in terms of outgoings, Jack Nolan left the club for Swansea City for £1 million, and we sold left-back Rosario Luongo to Atalanta United for 970 grand. We also loaned out Valentin Flink to Crystal Palace to get some first-team minutes. And after that, boys, we did sell and loan out a lot of youth players, but I think that could be our window done. So this is the team we're going to have to take into season 4, and I have to say, boys, it looks so strong on paper. Now we've added Lopez and Sagnan, and I'm thinking, boys, we've got to be getting in the playoffs at least this season, haven't we? So let's simulate forward now to the end of season 4 and see if Accrington Stanley managed to get into the championship playoff places. So, boys, we have arrived at the end of season 4, and it is time for the moment of truth. Have we made it a three-peat? Have we been promoted to the Premier League? We've not. We've finished 3rd in the championship. We've actually had a really good season still. Fulham had the Centurion season this time, and we will take on Leicester City in the playoffs. Still an excellent season, boys. I'm so glad we got 3rd. That squad of players should have been getting promoted. Let's now check the playoffs, and hopefully we have been promoted to the Premier League. And we've done it, boys. We have beaten Preston North End at Wembley Stadium in a Lancashire derby 2-0, and we are heading to the Premier League. We reached the FA Cup 5th round once again, boys, where we were bested by Premier League opposition Liverpool 4-0, and we made the 4th round of the Carabao Cup, where Premier League opposition once again beat us in Brighton. So this is the team that has taken us to the Premier League for the first time in Accrington Stanley's history, and I have to say, boys, it is definitely a Premier League team on paper. We do have 2 star players though in Walter Maida and Stamanic. McCormack and Hamilton are going really nicely as well. I think going into season 5 and our first season in the Premier League, we definitely need to bring in a new goalkeeper to replace Olafsson. He's been a great servant, but he will not cut it in the Premier League, and I'm thinking I do want to also boost the overalls of that defence so we concede less goals. So I probably will look to maybe replace Lopez and Sagnan. They were good signings in getting us to the Premier League, but are they actually good enough to play in the Premier League? I don't actually know. In terms of stats, boys, Nick Walter Maida absolutely smashed it in the Championship once again. He's smashed it in every single league he's been in. 39 goals and 10 assists. At 88 rated though in the Championship, you would kind of expect him to do that given the fact he's one of the best strikers in the world. Let's get now into season 5. Our first season in the Premier League, and see how we get on with Accrington Stanley. So we've arrived in season 5, boys, and we've only got a £46 million transfer budget, meaning free agents should not be an issue to bring in, and we are going to bring in some better scouts as well with this money. And another thing that we're going to do, which is something we've never actually done before in one of these rebuilds, in real life, Accrington Stanley play at the WAM Stadium, and the max capacity of the WAM Stadium is only 5,500 fans. This would actually fail Premier League regulations, so I'm thinking, let's customise the club and give Accrington a new stadium. So feast your eyes, boys, on the new WAM Stadium, which will be the new home of Accrington Stanley. Fully red colour scheme to fit in with the Reds kits. Red and white checkered netting in the goals to also mimic the kits. And Accrington Stanley are now Premier League ready with their new stadium. After upgrading the stadium, we do kick our transfer window off with 3 very exciting signings who come in and make the first team better straight away. First being centre attacking midfielder Merlin Roll is a German 24-year-old, 78 rated, worth 15 million, very good stats, and he has joined us on a 5-year contract. He is then followed up by wonder kid goalkeeper Philip Christiansen, who I think is Kasper Schmeichel's regen, is showing great potential, 77 rated, 18 years old, worth 10.5 million, and he's got really decent stats for a goalkeeper. And we've also picked up a very good looking CDM, 79 rated Juan Lepenant, 24-year-old French player, has really decent stats, and he's also joined us on a 5-year deal. So with the new signings integrated into the squad, this is how the team's looking at the moment, and I think it does look very strong on paper. However, we are not yet done in the transfer window, as we would like to bring in one more defender, and I'm maybe going to look for a left winger to replace Estanis. And we have found the man to replace Estanis, lads. We have found Facundo Palestri on the free agents list. He's 79 rated, 25-year-old, high whip rates, decent stats, worth 18.5 million, and as you know, boys, we've used Palestri before and got him to over 90 rated, so we are bringing him to Accrington Stanley. And we have brought Facundo Palestri to Accrington Stanley on a 3-year contract. And we've also added some vital Premier League experience to our midfield, boys, bringing in Frank Onyenko on a 1-year deal. And our spree of free agent signings is going to continue, boys, as we bring in Adam Albert, a 75 rated, 24-year-old centre-back with decent stats. He's got better potential than Sagnan, so he's going straight into the starting 11, and hopefully he grows quite a bit this season. And one thing I do think we've lacked throughout this entire rebuild, boys, is a really good backup striker, so we have brought in Mateo Joseph on a 4-year deal. He's 23-year-old, 77 rated, really decent stats, and he actually is worth £13.5 million, and he will be a perfect backup to Walter Maida. And lads, we have had a massive clear out of players this summer. Quite a few youth players have gone out on loan and been sold to meet objectives, but there have been some first teamers who've who've gone as well. The first being Modibor Sagnan. He went to Bournemouth for £9.7 million. I sold him, boys, so Albert always plays. Ben Woods joined Real Salt Lake for 700 grand. Karodi Adedoyan joined Birmingham City for 1.25 million. And Kevin Suboff handed in a transfer request, so he's sold into Italian side Lecce for £12.5 million. That brings our transfer window to a close, boys, with no simulating forward to the end of the season, and hopefully, could we push for a top half finish? I think we actually could. So our first season in the Premier League was a roaring success, boys, as we actually got a top half finish, finishing 9th in the league on 53 points. 12 points off the European places, so there is work to do in the upcoming transfer window. We just got to hope the free agents list is kind to us. In the FA Cup, boys, we were knocked out in the 5th round, being beat 4-1 by Fulham, and we were knocked out of the Carabao Cup in the 4th round by Spurs, who beat us on penalties. So this is how the team is looking at the end of the season, and Walter Maida has now reached 90 rated, being the first player of the rebuild to reach 90 rated. Damanic has gone up to 88, and the rest of the squad's seen some nice growth. Palestra, Hamilton and McCormack all growing nicely, but then we have got a lot of gaps to fill in the upcoming transfer window. We need to bring in a new left back to replace Lopez. That's an absolute dead cert. And lads, our centre backs are 78 and 79 rated. We really need to add some quality to our back line, help get us up the table. I'm also pretty disappointed with Leppinant's growth, so we're in the market for a CDM as well. In terms of stats, boys, it was obvious when Nick Walter Maida was our best player again, getting 37 goals and 9 assists. Mike Hamilton had a good season as well, getting 17 and 7, and Palestra chips him with 11 and 4. But after that, boys, it really does drop off. We need to start adding some more goals from the rest of the squad. We'll also be saying goodbye to Liam Coyle, as we are not renewing his contract, boys. He's leaving the club. Let's now simulate forward into season 6 and see if we can close the gap between mid-table to European places. We've arrived in season 6, boys, and we do have £49 million to our name. And I have to say, boys, this year the free agents list has not been very kind to us, but we have managed to pick up 2 decent young players. The first of which being a really nice pickup, Miguel Gomez, a 83 rated 20-year-old centre forward, 38 million player value. This is an insane pickup, and we are going to retrain him to be a centre attacking midfielder. And once again, lads, we are a little bit stuck in the centre back market. We haven't really managed to pick up a world class player, but we have picked up Fis Janssen. I think that's how you pronounce his name. I really don't know though, boys. 78 rated 18-year-old centre back, really decent stats, 11.5 million player value. Hopefully he will grow quite a bit, because we are really struggling to bring good centre backs through the door. So we've arrived at the end of the transfer window, boys, and we have managed to bring in a few more players. The first being Franco Carboni, a 25-year-old left wing back, 75 rated, not the best player. He just gives us an extra option in that left back position. We brought in a fairly high potential youngster, Joey Allen, from the free agents list, 19-year-old, 65 rated. He's going to go out on loan this season. And we've also brought in a backup right back in Paul Jackson. He's 71 rated, worth 1.8 million, and he's just literally here to warm the bench. And lads, we have had a raft of outgoings to get through. A lot of players who've hit the potential and won't grow anymore, and I don't want them stinking up the squad morale, so they're gone. First being Ilias Olafton, who's gone to Fulham for 6.5 million. Frank Onyenka's short spell at Accrington Stanley is over, as he's joined Fulham for 7.9 million. A player who's been an amazing servant to Accrington Stanley, Mohamedou Wad, has left the club to Hellas Verona for 2.25 million. We've also sold Merlin Roll to Brentford for 16.6 million, and Leslie Adioka will join Sepsi OS for 940 grand. And we've had one more big outgoing, boys. Pierre Koopman has handed in a transfer request, so we sold into Crystal Palace for 11.5 million. And that means this will be the team to take us into season 6. Now, it does actually look quite good on paper. I'm hoping a lot of them players who are 78, 79 can grow to 80 at least this season. And we've actually got a pretty decent bench as well going into season 6. So who knows, boys, maybe this team, you know, could get into Europa League places at least, or maybe even a Champions League spot. So let's now simulate to the end of season 6 and see if this Accrington Stanley team can get us into Europe. We've arrived at the end of the season, boys, and we have actually secured Champions League football for season 7, as we have finished 3rd in the Premier League, only 3 points off tabletop in Brighton, meaning Accrington Stanley in season 7 will be playing Champions League football. And just look at that top 4, boys. Brighton, Spurs, Accrington Stanley and West Ham United. It's safe to say the big 6 have definitely dissolved. In the FA Cup, we made it all the way to the quarterfinals, where Liverpool beat us 2-1, and in the Carabao Cup, Tottenham knocked us out in the 3rd round. So this is the Accrington Stanley team that has made history and got us Champions League football, and every single player besides Lopez and Janssen are now over 80 rated, which we love to see. We've now got 2 90 rated players in Walter Maida and Stamanic. McCormack, Palestri and Hamilton have all reached plus 85. Gomez is almost 85 rated as well. So the team is looking very strong, but going into season 7, boys, it's the same persistent problems. We need a new left back and centre back, and we need them to be world class, but the free agents list just is not being kind to us at all. And in terms of stats, boys, Nick Walter Maida was once again our best player, getting 28 goals and 7 assists. Miguel Gomez had a great season, getting 16 and 11. Hamilton got 13 and 8 and Palestri got 12 and 4. But once again, boys, outside of our front 4, hardly anyone is scoring goals, which is just not good enough at all. It needs to be improved in season 7. So let's get into season 7, boys. Our first season in the Champions League, and hopefully we can just hope and pray, can't we, that the free agents list is actually kind to us this time round. So we've arrived in season 7, boys, and we would have had £168 million to spend on players. It's just not fair, is it, at all, boys? And lads, our prayers have been answered by the EA gods. The free agents list has been so kind to us this summer, and we have already brought in 5 players who will change the dynamics of this rebuild completely. We're going to start at the bottom, then we're going to work our way up in terms of actual impacts on the squad. The first signing we made was Gregorio Perez, a 79 rated exciting prospect centre-back who will go straight into our starting 11, and he should grow to near 90 rated. We then also brought in another exciting prospect, this time a centre defensive midfielder in Maximilian Richter. He's German, 79 rated, worth 31 million, and has got brilliant stats. He's another one who will go straight into our starting 11. And we have finally got a really good first choice left back in Ryan Sessegnon, 29-year-old, 80 rated, really good stats. And we've finally got a left back at the club who's above 80 rated. And no time for the next 2 signings, which are going to make a massive impact on our season. The first being Champions League winner Aymeric Laporte. He joins us on a 1-year deal. He's 35-year-old, 83 rated. And I'm fully aware we're only going to get 1 good season out of him, but you just do not turn down Champions League winning experience at all. And no, lads, it is time for the big one, the main signing of the summer. 21-year-old Mamadou Sagna is 83 rated, 6'5", 93 strength, an exciting prospect. This is the best signing we've made on this career mode so far, and he is instantly our best defender. And just look at how much better our team looks now with all the new signings in there. Obviously Richter is below 80 rated, but he will definitely grow a lot this season, and I genuinely think in that squad there we've got a team who can do really well in the Champions League. And just to let you know, boys, Adam Obar has left the club and joined AFC Bournemouth as he handed in a transfer request, and he was just not good enough for Champions League football. So we've reached the end of the transfer window, boys, and we have had a bit of a clear out. We've got rid of some of the deadwood, and I'll run you through it right now. Marcus Lopez has joined Hoffenheim for 11.6 million. We have sent Fidge Janssen, I know I'm butchering that name so badly, to Arsenal on loan for the season, as he needs to get some minutes and grow a bit more if he wants to still be an Accrington Stanley player come next season. We've also sent Afonso Araujo out on loan to Wolves. We sold Dan Martin to Rook Chorizo, I think that's how you pronounce it, no idea, for 390 grand. And that is the end of our transfer window, boys. All that's left to do now is check our first ever Champions League group. And our first ever Champions League group is in, lads, and you know what, it isn't actually too bad. We've got Juventus, PSV and Anderlecht. Some really challenging away fixtures there with some really intimidating atmospheres, but I think Stanley can get through that group. Let's simulate forward now to the end of the season and see how we got on in the Premier League and Champions League. So we've arrived at the end of the season, boys, and this season has been a roaring success, but there has been some major heartbreak along the way. In the Premier League, we finished second, 3 points behind Manchester City, guaranteeing Champions League football again, and us and City pulled away from the rest of the chasing pack massively as we were 8 points clear of third place Spurs, meaning Accrington Stanley, no matter what, are playing Champions League football next season. And in the FA Cup, boys, we were beaten in the final by Nottingham Forest 3-2. Absolutely gutting. It would have been Accrington Stanley's first ever major trophy, and we were beaten in heartbreaking style 3-2 in the final. We didn't manage to make the Carabao Cup final, boys. We were knocked out in the quarters once again by Leeds United, still chasing that first domestic trophy. Now listen, I know I won the Bristol Street Motors trophy, and you know what, I am counting that as an honour, but we have yet to win a major honour like an FA Cup, League Cup, Premier League, and we did not make the Champions League final, boys, unfortunately. We did manage to clear our group. We actually smoked our group, boys, getting 16 points, not losing a single game. We then went on to smash Real Madrid 7-1 in the round of 16. We beat them 7-1. Quarterfinals, we went on to smash Monaco 6-2, and then we were, wow, that is absolutely crazy. City beat us 6-3, 6-5 over 2 legs to set up a final with Bayern Munich. To be fair, lads, we were not involved in a single boring game in the Champions League, and hopefully next year we can go on further and actually get to the final, because our squad is now starting to take serious shape. Just look at how beautiful that team is looking at the minute, boys. The defence looks amazing, the midfield is stacked, our forward players are amazing. I'm going into next season thinking, how do I even improve this team, lads? Because I don't think we bring anyone in who comes straight into the starting 11 unless we can find a world-class left back, which I just personally cannot see. In terms of stats, lads, you already know what I'm going to say. Nick Waltermeida was the best player, getting 32 goals and 8 assists. He is an absolute goal machine, boys, and you need to try him out in one of your rebuilds. We're now heading into season 8, boys. We will be saying goodbye to Aymeric Laporte as we will not be renewing his contract. Now it's time to get into season 8, and lads, wholeheartedly, we have got to go for the Champions League this year, and we've got to win a domestic trophy. We're yet to win one. surely next year is this year. So we've arrived in season 8, boys, and we have got a whopping £254 million in the bank, and I just wish I could spend this money, boys. But we are kicking off the transfer window in style. As I said, the only way we're going to get a player in this starting 11 from the free agents list is if we can find a world-class left back. Well, guess what? We found an 18-year-old, 84 rated left back on the free agents list who's got unbelievable stats, loads of play styles, high work rates. Lads, our team is now sorted. Let's bring Kirk Forsyth, the 18-year-old, to Accrington Stanley. So after bringing in Forsyth, lads, I'm really happy with how this team looks, and I do think we've got potential to go really far in the Champions League and maybe even win the Premier League with this team. The young players in this team are still going, like Perez, Christiansen, McCormack, Forsyth and Richter. They're only going to get better this season. We've got a really solid bench as well this season with a lot of options, multiple 80 rated players. Could this be the season? However though, boys, we have said goodbye to quite a few players, and I'll run you through them right now. We cashed in on Araujo, who's left for Granada CF for 18.4 million. Forgotten man Estanis has left the club for 19.6 million to PSV. We cashed in on Fink, who's not been in the first team picture for quite a while. He's gone to Royal Antwerp for 6.8 million. And we also say goodbye to Franco Carbone, who's gone to Rayo Vallecano for 8.7 million. And that is our transfer window officially finished, boys. We just need to check our Champions League group. So our Champions League group is in, boys, and the FIFA gods are smiling down on us. We've got Lyon, Ajax and FC Nordsjælland. I think that's how you say it. We have got a real opportunity here to get through to the round of 16, and if we do not get through this Champions League group, lads, it is an absolute calamity. Let's now simulate forward to the end of season 8 and see if we manage to do just that. So we've arrived at the end of the season, boys, and we've once again finished second in the Premier League, only 4 points behind tabletop in Manchester City. We only lost 4 of our 38 games as well, so unlucky to not win the Premier League, and our search for the first ever domestic trophy of Accrington Stanley's history still continues. Until now, boys, as we've won the FA Cup, beating Spurs 3-2, the roles are reversed from last season's final where Forest beat us 3-2, and we are taking home our first ever domestic trophy in the form of the FA Cup. In the Carabao Cup though, lads, we couldn't really repeat that success as we were knocked out in the third round by Brentford. We are actually in the Champions League final taking on PSG. We topped our group, winning 4, losing 2, going through with Lyon, and then we absolutely smashed Celtic 5-2 over 2 legs. We then beat Borussia Dortmund 4-2 over 2 legs in the quarters, getting to a semi-final against Frankfurt. So we actually had a pretty decent run to the final, getting Celtic, Dortmund and Frankfurt. Pretty not the hardest run to the final, to be honest. We beat Frankfurt 4-1 to take on PSG, the old enemy, final. And this is the team that will take us to a Champions League final, and it is looking absolutely stacked, lads. What a team we've built here, full of free agents, might I add. But unfortunately, going into the final, we will lose our 88 rated left back Forsyth as is suspended, meaning Ryan Sessegnon will have to take his place for the final. And in terms of stats, boys, wow, this needs to be seen to be believed. Nick Woltemade got 49 goals and 12 assists in 55 games. That is what you want from your 93 rated striker, boys. Wow, that is unbelievable. And all that's left to do now, boys, is take on PSG at the Olympia Stadion in the Champions League final. So here we go, boys. It is Accrington Stanley versus Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League final. Can we complete the fairy tale with Accrington Stanley? Bearing in mind the full team is full of free agents. We've built such a good team. What a way to end it by beating PSG in the final. Wide to Hamilton. Hamilton with a lovely bit of skill to get past Dorgu. Woltemade's in the box. Gonna try and get it on him. What a ball. Woltemade, bang. 1-0. What a start, boys. What a start. What a goal. What a cross. What a finish. And in the 14th minute of this Champions League final, Nick Woltemade puts us 1-0 up. Absolutely amazing wing play from City graduate Mike Hamilton. Puts a lovely cross in, and Woltemade on the half volley into the bottom corner. We are 1-0 up in this final. Woltemade back post is 6'5", get it in on his head. Woltemade, oh, unlucky. We are asking all kinds of questions of this PSG defence early on in this game. Pamanic. Hamilton is absolutely ripping them to shreds. Gomez, going to be 2. What a save, Donnarumma. What a save. What a... Oh, Mbappe though, what a tackle that is. Don't let him shoot. Mbappe. So unlucky there from Kylian Mbappe. Thank God that went wide. And what a ball by Perez. What a ball by Perez. Hamilton. Oh, so close to being 2-0 on the stroke of half time. It doesn't matter though, boys. We are 1-0 up going into the second half, and we are 45 minutes away from winning Accrington Stanley Champions League trophy. Huge 45 coming up, lads. Absolutely huge 45. Oh, he's done me. Gonna cross there. Oh no, I've shouldn't have done that. No, Mbappe, is it the post? Get out. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Mbappe, that's a big let off. It should be 1-1. Oh my, Gomez, oh my god. That is what you call skill. Voltamedo, I've seen you. I've seen you. I've seen you. I've seen you, Hamilton. Oh my god, it's 2-0 to Accrington Stanley. PSG at the post, and we go straight up the other end, and Hamilton makes it 2-0 to Accrington Stanley. PSG left to rue their missed chances. Unreal this from Gomez, by the way. What a player this guy is. Lays it off on a plate to Hamilton, gets in front of Dorgu, into the back of the net. 2-0 to Stanley. PSG will be kicking Mbappe for hitting the post there. He had to score. As a different, oh, good save. That's nice from Sessegnon. Absolutely skins Minty there. Oh, no. Lee Kangin. Oh, Mbappe. Nope. What a save again by Christiansen. He's been absolutely insane in this game. 72 on the clock, and PSG are asking all kinds of questions now. Mbappe again, and he's blocked. Kangin. What a block again. And he's offside. Thank God. Oh, good defending. Oh, no. Mbappe. What a save again by Christiansen. The guy has kept us in this second half. Mbappe had 6 shots and not scored. He must be like 99 rated as well. Whipped in. Free header. Oh my god. Christiansen, man. Christiansen has served us a man of the match performance here. Oh, give the ball away. No. Christiansen again. What a save. Xavi Simons denied this time. Wow, we're riding our luck here though, boys. We've got to just get the ball away. Don't let them score, but Mbappe, they finally got one back. In the 92nd minute, Mbappe scores. But I think it is too little too late. I do not think they're going to get back into the game. We've just given them so many chances in this second half. It's awful defending, really. I was lunging in for no reason. Lovely pass to Mbappe, and he puts it straight past Christiansen, who has no chance this time. But, boys, I think as soon as we kick this off, the full-time whistle's going to go. And the full-time whistle does go, boys. We have won the Champions League with Accrington Stanley of all teams, using only free agents, lads. What an absolute miracle. Now all that's left to do, boys, is watch McCormack, our 88 rated right back, who's been with us for absolutely years, lift the Champions League trophy for Accrington Stanley. And the Reds are the champions of Europe, and that is another rebuild successfully boxed off. So I just want to say a massive thank you for watching the video, boys. If you could like the video and subscribe to the channel, that would really, really help me out. We are literally less than 100 subscribers away from 2,000 subs, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers.